Hello, this is author Scotty McCoy, and I am the author of the Ultimate Halloween Trivia book, both first and second edition, and I am doing another book titled The Ultimate Slasher Movie Encyclopedia, and I am interviewing the cast and crew of the Halloween franchise, and I currently have on the phone with me Stacey Nelkin, and she played Ellie Grimbridge in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Hi, Stacey, how you doing?
Hey, Scotty. Good. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing so great. So the first question I got isn't related to Halloween. It's actually, how did you
hmm
get your start into acting?
Oh my goodness! Wow. Great question. so, um, my initial impetus to become an actress was looking for love from male role models and figures because I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. Parents were divorced. My dad was a drug addict. And I used to watch TV, and I would pretend that, if it was Dr. Joe Gannon from Medical Center or one of those people were rescuing me, and I'd put myself in those kind of situations. I'd act them out, um, and did all that. And then, when I was 9, I started getting the lead in all the school plays, and that continued when I grew up in New York City. So when I was 14, it was easy to get a manager, and I got a manager, and went on auditions every single day, and then didn't get a job for 2 years. And finally, on my 16th birthday, I literally landed 2 national commercials, got into Screen Actors Guild, and didn't stop working for many, many years.
That's awesome.
So that's how it all started.
That's awesome.
Like a lot of actors and actresses, a deficit coming from a void. Anybody who goes into that business has to have some kind of issue because it's a very crazy, crazy business.
Right.
And so it kind of replicates the family
Exactly.
that I grew up in, certainly, and I think for a lot of my peers and colleagues, it was similar.
Oh, wow.
So,
Nice. So I know it's been a long time, but what was your audition like for Halloween 3?
I'm sorry. What was the question? When or how?
What was it like?
The audition?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's how this all started. I'm sure you've heard this before because you're the expert on the Halloween movies. At the time, I was living with my then boyfriend, who later became my fiance, but we broke up, is Perry King. And no, I wasn't living with Perry. We were dating. Perry, was living with Ron Walters, who is a makeup artist. Who Perry and I both knew from the last Convertible, a miniseries we did where we met and fell in love. So Perry wound up leaving his wife. He wound up moving in with Ron, and temporarily. And Ron had already been hired to do the makeup on Halloween 3. And he was telling us all about the project, and they couldn't find the female lead, and he kept saying, Stacey, why don't you do it? And it didn't really interest me at the time, and then I finally got a copy of the script, and I loved the character. And by this point, they were really desperate. They were like a week away from shooting, and they still hadn't cast Ellie Grimbridge. And I went in, and read, and I believe I read with Tom Atkins, and had so much fun. And literally, as I was walking in the door from the audition, the phone was ringing, and it was my agent saying, "You got the job."
Awesome.
And that was, those things never happen.
Right.
So it was just one of those things. Had I not heard from Ron, I would never have, done it.
Right.
And then I got to work with him again, so that was great.
Awesome. So, how was your death scene created and prepped?
Oh, okay. So they had me go to the Don Post studio, and they did a death mask of me, which is kind of a harrowing experience because you can only breathe through a straw. Your eyes are covered, your mouth, everything is closed, your nose, everything except your nostrils. So if you're the tiniest bit claustrophobic, which I think we all are, certainly I am. It was kind of horrific, but I did it, and they made the death mask of my face and head, and they also did a plaster replica of my arm, so that when my arm and my head come off at the end, they had that. The way they actually shot the scene was amazing, because it was good old-fashioned filmmaking. You know, it wasn't green screen like they would probably do today. In those days, they had my body double, who was exactly my size, wearing my same outfit I had been wearing for probably a month at that time. It was the same outfit that I wore through the whole end of the movie.
Right.
And they had built in on a soundstage a platform that was covered with grass, and it had a hole and on the top that was big enough for somebody to slip underneath. So it was a platform with a top and probably 2 feet between that and the bottom of it, so that you could slip under, as I did, and stick my head up through this little hole. And my body double was lying 2 feet, 3 feet, whatever, away from me, with grass covering there was another hole where her head went down, so she could breathe. And I was like a little whack-a-mole kind of thing, and my head was sticking up, and I'm looking over across the grass, and there is my body. It was very, very trippy experience. But it was, so clever. That's how they used to do things in the old days, really figure things out and hide certain things from the camera, and it looked very authentic.
Awesome.
Probably more so than a green screen.
Exactly.
So that's how they did that, yeah.
Awesome. So what was it like working with Tom Atkins?
Oh, Tom was great. He was he's just as he seems I'm sure you've interviewed and met him. He is funny and outspoken and gracious and a total gentleman. And, I think one of our first scenes was the love scene, and he just put me so at ease, and he was just a classy, easygoing guy. Right. So he's a very generous actor. Awesome. And lovely to work with, because most actors can be, a little egomaniacal and all of that, and he was just so earthy. That's and great. Real. So I was thrilled to work with him.
That's great. So how was Tommy Lee Wallace as a director?
Oh my God, he was great. He was very easy to work with. Always had a vision in mind, but was also extremely open to what everybody else was thinking and wanting, and open to suggestions, and really worked with us, but yet gave us the space to do our thing. So he was terrific, and I think it was one of his first directing experiences. He started as a musician and doing all these other very creative aspects of filmmaking, and he was just a natural, because he knew enough to give actors some space to play and have our own creative input. So he was terrific.
Awesome. So do you do any conventions? And if so, what do you believe personally is the best part about them?
Do I do conventions?
Yes.
You bet.
Awesome.
I've been doing them for the last 10 years, at least.
Nice.
For the last 10 years. And I am blown away by the response over the years that Halloween 3 has gotten. Blown away. The fans are incredible, and they all know the movie backwards and forwards, and better than any of us do, and are so appreciative. And a lot of them have the same questions, like, do you think Ellie was a robot the whole time? Things like
Right.
that. And we get to have discussions, and it's just fantastic to see what a cult classic it has become over the
Mm-hmm.
years. Yeah,
Definitely. Definitely agree.
yeah,
So, what
yeah.
was the best part about filming Halloween 3, and what was the worst?
The worst, for sure, I'll start with that, was the morning of doing the love scene,
Okay.
because it was so cold, and I had, in those days, they didn't have that spray body makeup, those machines that
Right.
they do like for spray tanning. It was with a cold sponge, and I had to get sponged all over my body for the makeup for
Right.
the camera, and it was so cold, and I just couldn't get warm, and I think I was anxious too
Right.
about to get semi nude on screen. So that was probably the worst, but really that cold sponge that morning was just terrible. The best part really has been the friendships. I mean, I loved Deborah. We were close.
Mhm.
Tommy certainly, Tom Atkins.
Mhm.
So the crew and the rest of the cast, everybody was so and including um, um, Dan O'Hurlahan. Sorry,
Yep. It's okay.
I was at Dan O'Hurlahan, who was also so talented,
Right.
but there was no attitude. Nobody on the set had attitude. It was just kind of one of those rare experiences where people are actually really decent and human and no divas. And,
Right.
that's always a treat when you get to work on a show like that, because we've all certainly worked with people who are not like that.
Exactly.
So that was a real treat
Exactly.
to
I've
be
even
able to,
interviewed some
yeah.
people, not mentioning any names, but I did interview some people that
Mhm.
weren't the greatest interviewees, but I probably 9 times out of 10, most of them have been amazing. But I gotten that
Mm.
one or few, sour grapes of the bunch, so to speak.
Mhm. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was your most memorable part about filming Halloween 3?
Um. I would say doing that scene where my head came off and looking across the platform,
Mhm.
um, slash grass, which was
Right.
supposed to be the lawn, at my body. It just kind of blew me away because it was so well done the way they did it, and I was like a little kid. I was like, oh my God, that's me over there, but I'm here. How could I?
Right.
So it was that kind of moment. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So, how were all the androids and special effects regarding them created? If you have any insight on any of that.
How were the special effects created?
Yeah.
The only ones that I really knew about were the ones that I was involved in.
Okay.
And as I said, they make the death mask, and they made the
Right.
cast of my arm. And then, magic of movie making, you cut here and then you cut there
Right.
and you shoot this
Yep.
angle. And that was how they did it. So the special effects, there really weren't too many special effects. I
Right.
mean, it was really good old fashioned movie making. As I
Right.
said,
Yep.
they cut away when there's supposed to be my head getting cut off,
Right.
and then they cut to, the head that they made, that mask that looked like me with the wig from the back, and my body double, and so there really
Right.
weren't. It wasn't like real special effects.
What about regarding
In that sense.
like this ending scene when you threw all the chips, like Tom Atkins' character threw all the chips like into the in where it blew up and everything, the whole
Yeah.
Silver Shamrock's
Oh, that.
headquarters.
Right. See, I wasn't involved in that.
Okay.
That's like a Tommy Lee question. How do you do that? Because
Right.
I wasn't there. I'm sorry to say.
That's okay.
So, Yeah.
So, a lot of people say Halloween 3 Season of the Witch shouldn't be included in the Halloween franchise, specifically due to the exclusion of Michael Myers. So, what would you
Right.
say to those who feel that way to show them that this is a great film in the franchise with or without Michael Myers being included?
Mm. Okay. Good question. Look, the Michael Myers fans are, they are diehard fans, and
Yep.
I'm not going to be able to convince them of anything. And
Right.
I think that's why Halloween 3 has been able to stand on its own because it is more of a science fiction film.
Right.
It is more along the lines of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And that's why it's found its following, because there are a lot of people who like movies that are not just gratuitous thriller, nudity, and scare the crap out of you kind of films,
Right.
but they actually make you think a little bit. And I think people come away very pleased. Now, for those who are expecting Michael Myers, they're pissed off as hell because he's not in it.
Right.
So, but, we've had all those people come up to us at the conventions, including many, many, many people who say, this is my favorite of the Halloween
Right.
films.
And it's funny
So,
because a lot of people go to me, they're like, "How do you like Halloween 3?" Because Michael Myers in it. I said, "Do you remember the time that that Dan Chalice, who played, Tom Atkins played him? You remember when he was in the bar and they played the little Halloween
mm-hmm,
commercial? I thought
right.
I saw Michael Myers on the TV screen, didn't you?"
It could have been him.
Yeah,
I
right?
understand Jamie Lee was also,
Yep.
they used her voice for
Yep.
something in it.
Yep, I think for the
So, yeah.
curfew. Yep, exactly.
Right,
So
right.
actually, you stole one of my questions that the fans asked
Mm,
at the conventions, which is pretty interesting
mm-hmm.
because I really wanted to know this answer. I've never heard the answer, but do you think that Ellie really was a robot?
Oh, God, no. Of course not. The whole time? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
No, no. I mean, it's pretty clear to me and to most people
Yeah.
that all happened when I get taken away by those guys.
Yes.
And then I'm in a room tied up. So
Exactly.
that, you know,
Are there
it's,
fans that actually believe the opposite?
I think there are some who try to justify that, but, it hasn't quite
Right.
worked. I mean, certainly not on any of us, because
Right.
it's not. I
Exactly.
mean, it doesn't make much sense to me
Exactly.
or to Tommy Lee, who helped to write the script. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So the last question I got for you is, do you got any future projects or anything that you would like to promote for the readers to keep a lookout for?
No, really nothing. I wish I
Nothing?
could say I did.
Okay.
But I'm working as a substance abuse counselor, so
Okay.
I'm working with mentally ill, chemically addicted people from at a place called the Bridge, and no, so nothing
Okay.
right now. Someday I will be writing a book
Awesome.
about everything,
Awesome.
and Halloween will be in that too. But
Awesome.
that's maybe a little ways out.
Awesome. Yes.
So,
So if anybody wants to see if Stacey is up to anything acting wise, you can check out her IMDb page. I'm sure that'll be frequently
sure.
updated, and I'm sure I mean, even if every past project she's been in, keep an eye out for that. You are brilliant in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. One of my favorites
Very
in the
sweet.
franchise. I mean, I love Michael Myers. Don't get me wrong, but that one holds a special place in my heart.
Great.
Thank you very much
Great,
for your
great.
time.
All right, my pleasure,
Awesome.
Scotty.
You
Good
have
luck to you.
Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night.
And you too.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.